The Snare of the Fowler, and the Trap of the Narcissist. The narcissist gets us to realign and come into agreement with the works of the flesh. The narcissist targets our emotional thinking and it causes us to have an addiction to the narcissist. The root of the addiction of the empath towards the narcissist is our implied consent or agreement or giving into their machinations and the games that they play. For example, the narcissist is committing adultery against you. You come into agreement and you realign with the kingdom of darkness when you fight to maintain the marriage after this transgression is discovered. Another snare. When you acquiesce or try to make the narcissist happy by winning back his love and intimacy through his adulterous mistress, through any means necessary. You are snared by the fowler when you do this. You are snared, trapped by the narcissist when you do this. If you react hysterically with betrayal when you discover the narcissist's betrayal of adultery, then they have inserted control over you and they are absorbing your fuel of your hysteria. This is the snare of the fowler. Okay, number 8, fornication is the snare. You are intimate with your narcissist. This is the snare of the fowler. Number 9, uncleanness, the snare. You're losing 25 pounds and getting a makeover. You're becoming perfect to make the narcissist happy. This is the snare of the fowler. Number 10, lewdness, the snare. You're in agreement with their sexual perversions. They want to be creative with their sexual experiences, if you know what I mean. Number 11, idolatry, the snare of the fowler. You are worshiping the narcissist because you are trying to make them happy, and they are committing crimes against you called the works of the flesh. Number 12, sorcery and witchcraft, the snare. You come into agreement with the powers of Satan when you are in agreement with witchcraft and sorcery of the narcissist, which you are agreeing with his control, manipulation, domination, and isolation. Number 13, hatred, the snare. You try to make the narcissist love you again, which is virtually impossible since the narcissist cannot love. So that is the snare of the fowler. Number 14, contentions, the snare of the fowler. I will prove my undying loyalty to you because you have a contempt for me and you are judging me. Number 15, jealousies, the snare of the fowler. I will not make you jealous, Mr. or Mrs. Narcissist or the Jezebel spirit. Number 16, outbursts of wrath, the snare of the fowler. I will become the peacemaker. And when I do that, I do implied consent. I come into agreement with the kingdom of darkness when I become a peacemaker. This is a tough one. Number 17, selfish ambitions, the snare of the fowler. I will get a life insurance policy for $250,000 and make you the beneficiary. That is selfish ambitions, and you are in the snare of the fowler when you agree to do that. Because what will happen, he might not kill you outright, but he will get you to assimilate the spirit of suicide, and after 2 years, you will be $250,000 richer because of that. Number 18, dissensions, the snare of the fowler. I will expose a narcissist's behavior to all of his family, his AA friends, of his true evil nature. The snare of the fowler. You engage with the narcissist and you end up in allegiance to the kingdom of darkness when you try to expose the evil of the narcissist to the people that he is manipulating you to. This is a snare of the fowler. It puts you in implied consent. You are in agreement with the kingdom of darkness and you are violating no contact when you engage in this behavior. This is the snare of the fowler. Number 19, heresies, the snare. I will protect and honor my character in my relationship with God, in my good name and his kingdom. I will fight for my character realignment so that people know that I'm a good person. Number 20, envy, the snare of the fowler. I will not demonstrate my talents to earn money, to be able to make a good living in order to maintain the peace of the relationship with the narcissist. So I will stop doing what I'm good at and stop making money. The snare of the fowler is that as soon as I do that, the narcissist has control because now I depend on the narcissist for my financial survival. Number 21, murders. The snare of the fowler. I will calm you down so that you don't destroy me physically. I'm afraid of you. I need you to stop trying to take my life away. The snare of the fowler. I will have an abortion because you want me to, because you're not happy that I'm pregnant. That is the snare of the fowler. Number 22, drunkenness. The snare of the fowler. I will react without emotional self-control because I am physically drunk, or if I'm not physically drunk, I will just have no self-control because I am in the flesh of the spirit, which there is no self-control when I'm in the spirit. So drunkenness can be actual drunkenness, or people can be sober but still act drunk because they're doing as thou wilt. That is the snare of the fowler. When you do as thy wilt and you give in to your lack of self-control, that is the snare of the fowler. 23, rivalries, the snare. I want to speak to the new mistress. I want to speak to your family. I want to speak to your friends. I want to tell them the truth about what you are doing to me in private. I want to expose all the lies that you're saying and all the manipulations, and I want to expose you throwing me under the bus. This is the snare of the fowler. To avoid the snares of the fowler, you must go no contact. When the narcissist is committing crimes against you through the works of the flesh, you cannot engage with them in any way, because when you engage with any of the works of the flesh to try to correct the bad behavior, you are in engagement, and so you are in alignment with the kingdom of darkness when you do this. In order to be in no contact with the narcissist and get free from your captivity, from the works of the flesh, you cannot engage with any of the works of the flesh. It is very difficult to not engage. I mean, I got a phone call today from my narcissist who, out of the kindness of his heart, realizes I can't afford to get my own apartment, but told me that his aunt will take my daughter in so she has a place to live. I could be homeless, but my daughter be okay. It's very difficult to have no contact when the narcissist pushes your emotional buttons. When the narcissist told me that my daughter will, quote unquote, not be homeless because we're separating, but I will be homeless and it will be my problem, but my daughter will be fine. How am I supposed to not rip his eyes out or not go crazy when he does this? It's like he's giving me a hand grenade and pulling out the pin and expecting me to act normal. Well, I'm not going to act normal. I don't know how I'm going to do this, but in order to get free from the captivity of the narcissist, from the snare of the fowler, I have to not engage in any way with this beast. I have to find a way to get free and never speak or see him ever again. But having a child with him, this is going to be very difficult.